If you were hoping to hear us talk about the Devil May Cry Kickstarter, unfortunately that started and ended between filmings of Kickstarter Pickstarter episodes, but we've got plenty of others to talk about for the week of May 20th, 2019. We're starting off by jumping into Tabletop Games' newest entry in their Mythia series called Icaion. In this game, you are collecting the rare resource gathering around the world while also fighting off parasites and investigating a giant colossus, which seems to also be connected to the parasites. You will be playing the role of one of 4 seekers, which you will gather around the world to build different machines in order to gather this resource. And as you build these machines, you'll be taking off your playmat, which will actually also allow you to unlock bigger bonuses. This game will have you pick up these gems, and they have different colors where you can actually use them for different abilities, whether it's gaining extra actions, whether the camp so you don't have to move to a new spot, or other big bonuses. Colossus also has this fun little thing where you can research it, and depending on the number of players, will have gems sort of slotted into its base. And you will pull one of them, which will give you points. The other cool thing is there is also another expansion called Mythia the Fall, where you actually combine this game with the previous game from the series, Mythia, into this sort of co-op game where apparently the two worlds collide and there's monsters spreading everywhere. So that's an interesting take on not simply just combining. I think the only thing I can think of that reminds me of is the Cyclades and Comet, having sort of, you can combine the game pieces, but not nearly, I think, on the level as that.
Yeah, there's also there's the Dead of Winter where you combine 2 copies of the same game.
That's right, yeah.
But yeah, we've seen some things like that where games connect, but it's ambitious to be sure. Yeah, I thought the game itself looked pretty cool. Like you said, the Colossus thing is neat. My only issue is that I think they need to start making games with names that I can pronounce.
We may have spent a good chunk of time before we really got this going on how to pronounce these.
It's too hard.
It's already bad enough when I have to say it. I do really love the game mechanic with the board where as you sort of place things on the field, you get more power. Because I think each track's different, so you get to choose which one you want, but also you just feel good because placing something not only is just putting something on the board, but then you have more options, whether it's storage space or something.
Yeah, it seemed neat the way you use the different types of colors of resources for different actions to get points.
This does have a lot of minis, including the giant colossus with the solid thing, so it is $106. So that is a big price, but it is sound really cool game, and not only that, if you have the previous games, this fall expansion just sounds like a really fun, clever idea.
Kodama 3D takes the Kodama, the Tree Spirits game from Indie Boards and Cards, and transforms it into, as the title would suggest, a 3D version of itself. It is a game about building up these magical trees with your little Kodama spirits, and you're trying to get points by completing your goals, having different types of branches in your trees that match with each other or connect in a certain design or special way. You're going to be moving your little pawns across different tree pieces, different branch pieces, and depending on which one you move off of, you get to take that and add it to your tree. In the original Kodama, it was just cards flat on a table that you were laying out next to each other. This time around, it's an actual 3D model, and you're slotting branches into other tiles so that at the end of the game, you have this big, crazy-looking 3D tree. Every player does. It seems like a cool concept. I have not played the original Kodama, but always enjoyed that art style. And it seems to me like this will probably be a little bit easier to play, a little bit cleaner, and you don't have to worry about, if someone shakes the table, your cards get messed up or something because it's all upright and slotted in so it stays that way.
I know you and I seem to always be suckers when there's more of a 3D popping vertical element into a game.
It's cool. It's like that Everdell tree, it just looks fun and nice. And Indie Boards and Cards has put it out along with Action Phase. They're one thing now. That's the way it's working. So you can go ahead and back this one for just $24.
From Pencil First Games, we have The 100 Torii. This is a game where you'll be wandering around a garden in Edo, Japan, and you'll be trying to score points by taking interesting paths between monuments. The way the game works is you'll be laying tiles with one of 6 different monuments. The starting tile has all 6. And when you place a tile, you'll see what the shortest distance between 2 of those symbols are and score a number of tokens based on the shortest path. The longer it is, the more tokens you get. There are also people around that you can sort of hire to help you, being it a poet, a samurai, a geisha, all with their own unique abilities, and will also score points if you use their abilities more. There is also a bit of a set collection aspect, as well as trying to score large amounts where you have to trade them in for a 5 value token. And you can even cover up symbols sometimes, so you may be able to get what would have been a 1 path, now can be like a 4 path because you don't see that symbol anymore. Pretty simple concept, but it does seem like a cool sort of just everyone laying tiles make this huge gate. And the Torii gates you may be able to pass through, which are the big red gates you see a lot in Japanese artwork. It will actually give you different effects. There's blue ones, which will give you a free token of a different type, when red ones can give you an extra of the path you're looking for. So you also want to make sure you try to navigate your way through those as well.
I looked at this one too. I thought it looked neat. Of course, it reminded me on a surface level of Carcassonne, because I think pretty much any kind of a tile laying game like this, that's gonna be one that comes to mind. But it's like, instead of, where Carcassonne is more like, kind of like you're trying to build areas that group together, this is more about the pathing of it, which is, I think you can path, that's a verb. But yeah, I thought that looked like fun, trying to like get through the right paths and everything. Looked like a simple, kind of pleasant tile laying game in that same vein, I thought.
I do like that the symbols are much clearer. I don't like the area in Carcassonne when you're like, is this one grass area? You can get some weird shapes there. The game goes for $39 and seems like a good, fun, simple tile placement game.
This one's an RPG being put out by Free League Publishing. It's called Merc Borg. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. There's an umlaut over the O. This comes from Sweden, although there will be an English edition as well if you don't speak Swedish. But it's going to be written in Swedish first. It takes place in this crazy dying world. It's basically in a setting where there's this apocalyptic kind of Ragnarok-style event taking place, and you're going throughout and battling insane beasts and demons in this very, I would liken it to kind of a heavy metal kind of look to it. That sort of art style and grim, murdery feel to the world. It's a simple RPG system. You're rolling a d20, trying to beat a number. You have some simple items and equipment you can add on to make your character different. But really, I feel like it's more of an it also harkens back a bit to old school RPGs. But even if you have enough RPGs to play, I just thought this one looks worth maybe picking up as something like a coffee table book, because just the art of it is so vibrant and pops out. It's this really cool, bright backgrounds, but with these insane kind of ink-drawn, hand-drawn looking demons and monsters and stuff. And Free League Publishing has been knocking it out of the park lately with their stuff. Just seemed really neat. Merc Borg.
Do you know where the name, is that?
That's the name of the world. I don't know what it actually means, if it does mean something or not. that much I don't know. But it seems pretty cool. If this looks like something you want to dig into, you can get the PDF for $10 or the voucher for the softcover version from DriveThruRPG for $26, and see if you can pronounce Merc Borg.
We're going to keep things dark by now entering the Halls of Horror by Fun for All. This game, you are all dropped into a randomly generated house, which is led by the Master of Ceremonies, who's decided to play a little game for you where only one of you will survive. This may sound like many familiar horror movies, but in this one, the random generated house are cards where you'll be flipping them over in order to find 2 keys and the exit before you get killed. There will also be a murderer running around the house. Whether he is human or a monster, you're not sure. As you flip over cards, you'll be getting different items, possibly keys, weapons, and hopefully avoiding other players or the murderer before you get killed. You will also, at the end of the round, someone will take control of the MC and the murderer, but if you actually get killed, and the first one get killed, you're going to pretty much take permanent control of that and make everyone suffer for having you die first.
So it's very much competitive.
Yes.
You're not working together.
Oh no, there's not friendly.
I like the concept a lot. I like all those kinds of things like Saw or Cube, or where you're in a murder house and trying to get out. It sounds like fun.
It is also nice that the first person out, which usually is like
you don't have anything to do.
You now are the one who can, not only that, you get to take revenge.
Yeah, so if you're the kind of player who wants to really fight everyone, you're trying to get out specifically for that reason. Yeah, could be scary depending on who you're playing with.
There also is a solo mode too, so if you just want to take on the MC by yourself, which I think, once again, always having a little solo mode like this, and this seems like the perfect game to have a solo mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thematically, I agree.
So this apparently also was I think they designed this one designing a video game version of it, it sounded like, so I don't know if that's actually out or not. There's also a soundtrack at higher pledge levels, but the base for the game itself is $49. I think it's like 53 or 6, I can't remember off the top of my head for their soundtrack stuff, which, I mean, I think probably would be a pretty good deal for horror-based games, because I feel like music is definitely something you always want to
kind of. Merc Borg had a soundtrack too, I forgot.
Oh yeah.
Always fun when games have soundtracks.
So that, I think, sounded like an interesting prospect in sort of adding to the horror genre and the random-generated kind of house. And I honestly, I think for a game like this, I'd be most excited to play as the murderer and the MC.
Closing things out today with another role-playing game. This one is called Golgotha, and it takes place on yet another dead world. In fact, multiple dead worlds. It's a future sci-fi time, and you are a bunch of excavationers, which is a word now that I've made it up, and you're going out to visit these dead planets where these crazy temples exist with ancient technology that these alien overseers want, and they have tasked you with going out there and getting it for them. So essentially, you're going onto these planets and it's like a big dungeon crawl, but you are getting this crazy tech, and that also acts as your level up system, because as you're getting it, you're actually powering your character up with new insane weapons and fusions and things like that. Seemed like a very cool world. It is based on another system, which I believe is called Black Hack, if I'm remembering that correctly. Again, like a dungeon crawly kind of a thing. But it sounded, you're basically doing a heist on a giant planet and having to fight people, but it also sounded like there's potential for Indiana Jones style traps and things to discover and explore. So a unique blending of genres, I thought. It goes for $10 for the PDF and $25 if you want a physical copy. And maybe we'll explore some of these dead worlds together.
Maybe so. Those are our picks. As we sort of joked about in the beginning, there was the big Devil May Cry one, but we didn't cover that because that was released right after we recorded last week. And when we looked at it, it looked like it's either going to end before, or you may have like an hour or two at most by the time this video comes out.
Yeah, so let us know if you did back Devil May Cry, what you thought about that, because I know people have a lot of opinions about those Steam-forged games campaigns, or if you were looking at any of the other games that we talked about this week in particular, leave a comment right down below. We thank you for it. Till next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Will.
And this was Roll for Crits Kickstarter Pickstarter.
Catch the latest from Roll for Crit by liking and subscribing and supporting us on Patreon.
You're not a hidden traitor, are you? Come on, like us.